Hey everyone, it's Rick Silva. Hey, I am fired up for this session. What is land banking? What is land banking in California? Yeah, but land banking doesn't produce cash flow. I'm not wealthy, so I can't afford land. How can I even purchase land? I've heard you can get rich investing in land, but I don't even know where to get started. We're going to cover that and a whole lot more right now. Okay, everybody, welcome. My name is Rick Silva, referral coach, wealth consultant, and professional land banker. I help people create wealth by investing in land. It's just so misunderstood. In this video, I'm strictly going to try to tell you what land banking is. And this is just the tip of the tip of the tip of the iceberg as to what land banking is. So let's jump right in here. Some of you know my story. 12 years ago, I got divorced. During the real estate crash, I ended up homeless for a while. I was living in my office, showering at the gym for about 7 months. And then I met my now wife, Marcella, and she said, I help people invest in land. And I'm like, yeah, because in my mind, land doesn't kick off cash flow. And I only know of like Ted Turner and Harrison Ford and Clint Eastwood are big landowners. And I'm not rich. I hardly have any money. I can't do that until I found out you only need about 25 grand, up to $2 million. We can service anything in there. But my wife was on a webinar just like you're watching right now. And these two slides came up, and these two slides made me wealthy. There's no way to water this down. These two slides made me rich. So let's go over this. I'm going to go as fast as I can. We don't have a lot of slides today. Now, I want you to take a look at this picture. I'm actually going to go full screen for you. You're going to see a backdated Google image. And if you can read it up in the upper left-hand corner, that's 2002, showing an area in Southern California. That's 2002. These yellow lines that you see on the screen are where the roads ended up. But in this photo, there are no roads. Those lines were put in by Google to show where the roads ended up. So what land banking is buying land in an area like this. Maybe you own 2 acres right here, right in the middle here. If you can see my mouse, I'm not sure you can or not, but let's just where those little red markers are, you own 2 acres right there. Now, before I show you what happens, I want you to think about areas where you grew up, what the area looked like before and what it looks like now. And imagine the development that came in. And one thing I'm going to guarantee you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the landowners made way, way, way more than the developers did. You see the dirt and you see the buildings go up and you go, oh boy, those developers. No, the landowners made way more money than the developers did. So if you take a look at this picture, this is what happens to an area. If you live in California, this picture is not going to shock you at all. That's what happens. If you take a look back, we'll go back because now I do see my mouse on the screen. So let's say you just owned a little bit parcel of land right here. And this is 2002 backdated Google image. And we jump ahead 10 years. And 10 years isn't that long for those of you who have a little kid or 18-year-old or 20-year-old kid. Just think about how, 10 years ago wasn't that long to wait. So what is land banking? Buying when the land looks like this and people tell you you're a moron. And then when you sell to developers so they can put up the buildings, they go, boy, you sure were lucky. So let's move ahead. If you look at this, we're going to go in a little bit more detail. Up in the upper left-hand corner, you see a Google taskbar 2002. You'll see the yellow lines. You'll see the arrows pointing at these yellow lines. There are no roads there. The land in this photo, $50,000 to $150,000 per acre. They pave the roads, making you wealthy. Buildings start coming in around your land, making you wealthy. And then ultimately a developer wants your land $2 million to $7 million per acre 10 years later. Now, this is during the biggest real estate crash that I've been through, and I've been through a lot of crashes. This is the biggest. 2002, real estate crash to 2012, multi-millions made during a real estate crash. By here, you're dumb. Boy, you sure were lucky. So our company helps people through this entire process. Today, I'm just showing you what land banking is. Now, this is another example. This is in Santa Clara, Milpitas, in the South Bay of California. I want you guys to follow the red square. So in this picture, backdated Google image, 1993, 27 years ago wasn't that long. I was in my mid-20s then, and it seems like it was yesterday. Follow the red square. So in this picture, $5,000 to $50,000 per acre, and there's a lot of land available. We got the roads and the infrastructure. There's a lot of land available. Let's say even 5,000 or 100,000 per acre. Now we move ahead a little bit. We're only going to move ahead 7 years, and look at all the development that came in. And let's say you still own that square. Now you're at 500,000 to 3 or 4 million per acre in 7 years. You can do the math on the multiples. We'll jump ahead 9 more years. There's no more land available. You couldn't sniff land in this area for under 5 to 7 million. And if we back up here, just 2009 to 1993, that's only 16 years. You're going from 50 to 150,000 an acre at the most, $2 to $7 million per acre. Yes, land does not kick off cash flow. Land kicks off something called geometric equity gains. So it's cool if you invest for cash flow. I don't, because cash flow investments cannot arbitrage. Cash flow makes you comfortable, keeps you solid middle class. The wealthiest human beings that ever lived, going back to the wealthiest presidents, the wealthiest people in the world, wars are fought over land. They're not fought over houses. There's nothing that can create the wealth that land can. What's the actual definition of what land banking is? So land banking is a practice of buying affordable, pre-developed land in a path of growth. So we're going to pause there. Rick, what about land in New Jersey? Rick, what about land in Nevada? Rick, what about Detroit land banking? Those areas either don't have a lot of people, have too much land available, or don't have enough trends. And I'm going to get into the trends here shortly and how you can lose a lot of money if you're just buying because there's a vacant piece of land. Buying land that has to be sitting somewhere is called land investing or land speculation. This is land banking because we have insider knowledge. So second paragraph, historically, some of the largest fortunes have been made in land. The Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers, Leland, Stanford. You guys might have heard of Stanford University. Some of you have heard of Bob Hope, the comedian and actor. He died worth $400 or $500 million, and he didn't make $400 or $500 million in the 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s in movies. Johnny Carson interviewed him. You can find the interview. And Johnny Carson said, "Bob, you're one of the wealthiest actors who ever lived. How'd you do that in the entertainment business?" He goes, "I didn't create my wealth in the entertainment business." He goes, "I would make a movie, take the money, throw it in the trunk of my car, drive to the edge of town and buy all the land I could find." And you'll find an interview with the mayor of Los Angeles from way back. And they said they were frustrated because every time the city wanted to grow, they had to call Bob Hope on the phone to get the land. He controlled the land. He controlled his own returns, which is what we do in land banking. We help individuals reposition their wealth strategies by expanding their investment options from traditional real estate and index funds into land banking. Basically, you can own stocks, you can own homes, you can own buildings, you can own businesses. The single most lucrative of them all, but is also the most risky and the hardest to do, is land banking. You have to have insider knowledge. You have to have secret maps. You have to have relationships with developers, and you got to get the land before them. Pardon the pun, but it's an underground wealth creating vehicle that not a lot of people know about. We are privy to legal insider information. If we stop right there, you hear about people going to jail because they use insider trading or insider information in the stock market. Now, insider trading in the stock market is illegal. You can go to jail. In real estate, talk to any real estate investor, talk to any real estate agent, commercial or residential. And the way to wealth for house flippers, everything else, is getting off market properties that people don't know about. Well, the beauty of land, because there are no comps, you might be able to get a home for a little bit under market. You can get land for pennies on the dollar because there are no comps. So there's no cash flow. There's no liquidity in land. Disadvantage. Advantage is you can get it for pennies on the dollar. And when a developer wants it, it goes through something called a parabolic curve. We call it the hockey stick. And you can make returns in a week that you couldn't make in 30 years owning a house, because when a developer needs your land, you're controlling the position. That's all covered in the big land banking presentation. This is just the tip of the iceberg to let you know exactly what land banking is. And then people go, "Oh, you land speculate." So look at the second paragraph. We never speculate. Every property goes through what's called a 16, 3, and 10. When you have the relationships, when you have the secret maps, when you have hundreds and thousands of your investors getting offers, and then we analyze those offers, and it shows us where developments are coming in sometimes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years before they come in. It gives us a strategic advantage you cannot get in any other investment. Rick, why not Texas? Why not Arizona? Why not Nevada? Why not Florida? Why not Detroit? Very good question. You can buy land in those areas. It is absolutely not land banking. There's only one place you can land bank, and that's in Los Angeles County and the 5 surrounding counties, and I'll explain why. People buy land in Nevada, and there's one trend: a little bit of population coming, and then a half of another trend, gambling. When the economy takes a dump, gambling's gone, and you could lose money. You have to have minimum of 5 trends on the land, or it's not a land banking opportunity. The only place that has 5 and above is Los Angeles and the 5 surrounding counties. You got to have population: California, 38 million people live in California. 19.5 million live in Los Angeles County and the 5 surrounding counties. So in 5% of California's land mass is more population than every state in the United States except 4. And there's not a lot of land left. So I want you to see my hand. Lots of people, very little land left. Nevada, there's no one there. There's a ton of land. It's reversed. Lots of land, no people. Texas has one thing going for 2 things, high tech and oil. And in the next 5 years, oil is going to be gone due to the electrification of automobiles. So if they don't start putting solar panels, Texas is going to be in huge trouble. The 7 trends where we invest: population, land scarcity, trade and logistics, housing needs. 2 million homes are needed in California. Green energy, manufacturing, and infrastructure. And there's actually an 8th now. And that's called marijuana, pot, CBD, whatever you want to call it. Grow facilities need giant, the most secured buildings other than the Pentagon, the most secured buildings in the world are pot grow facilities. They need light industrial land. We've had some of our investors get windfall returns, multi-generational windfall returns from that. So that's actually an 8th trend that's not even on here. So when you look at an area like one of the areas we invest in, it's the last remaining bankable land in California. You've got aerospace, cargo and distribution, population growth. You've got ethanol, blue fire, lithium, solar, hemp, CBD, green technology in the tune of tens of thousands of acres getting taken down, solar and wind, high-speed rail going right through the city to Vegas, funded by the NFL, funded by Richard Branson, funded by casino owners, funded by Indian reservations. That bullet train will be done in the next 2 years. There's a stop directly in the center of where we invest. So high-speed rail, we got a giant freeway coming in. It's the last giant freeway coming in anywhere in California. We also have Edwards Plants 42. We have just the Raider bomber being developed there. It's on and on and on with what's going on. Most places people name, they'll say Nevada. Boom, you're going to have one arrow that says gambling. Like Los Angeles has 2 deep water ports. You got to be close to a deep water port also to be a land banking opportunity. This is all covered. Again, like I said, this is just the tip. This is all covered in Marcella's full land banking presentation. You can see my email address, rick@dirtisgold.com. Just email me or go to dirtisgold.com and you can see when the next webinars are. Why California is so unique, because it looks like there's a lot of land available and there's almost no land available. If you look at this map, you see all of this land that has all these colors. You'll see dark colors, orange, green, all of that land is owned. It's called BLM. It's called Bureau of Land Management land. That land will never, ever be developed. So once you look at all these colors, all of these colors, none of that is available for you and I to purchase. None of it. If you've driven from LA to San Francisco or San Francisco to LA, what do you see the whole way? You see stinky cows. And this area here is the stinky cows. That's all Williamson Act land. It's cut out of California for farmland. Okay. So when you look at all of this land that is not available for you and I, all of this land is not available for you and I. Now, there's some land available in the Bay Area. And I also want to point out to you, land banking is generally 20 cents a foot to $3 a foot. Somebody emailed me recently, hey, Rick, there's some land banking land available in Oakland. Yeah, when I did the math on it, it was $37 a foot. How am I going to 10 times my returns at $37 a foot? At 20 cents a foot, it only has to go to $2 a foot for me to 10 times my money. At $2 a foot, it only has to go to $20 a foot for me to 10 times my money with no risk out of my own pocket, except I pay a very small property tax. Back to this. All of this land is off the table. None of it's available. None of this is available. So when we do the math, California has 100 million acres, 76 million are taken up, developed, 7 million inaccessible, 17 million suitable for development, except for all of this is taken. There's a whole bunch of it that's already been developed. This is 18 years ago. California only had 2 million acres left. 18 years ago. Back to it. Any state you name, you can land bank in Nevada. Guys, there's no one in Nevada. There's cities in California that have more people than the entire state. There's almost no people and there's a lot of land available. There's no pressure on the land. LA County, 19.5 million people, 19.5 million people, a lot of people. There's almost no land left. We figure we have 8 more years and we're going to be done with the land banking business because there will be no more land left. Land banking, before I give you the tagline, so as of 17 years ago, there's 2 million acres left. So land banking, just to back up, if you watch this late, let's just back up, do it one more time. Land banking is the practice of buying affordable, pre-developed land in the path of growth in an area where there's roads coming in, where there's pressure on the land. You buy it in this picture, 50 to 150,000 an acre. 10 years later, $2 million to $7 million per acre. But you got to have the maps. You got to have the inside knowledge. You got to have the relationships with the developers. Whew, if you have all of that, I promise you, you can get wealthy. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. That's what land banking is. If you need any help, have any questions, go to dirtisgold.com or email me directly at rick@dirtisgold.com. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.